you're too late. You want to start swimming like right as it's right here, right? And then it goes over you and it carries you and you ride that wave. And I think that's the reason that you see so many brands betting big on women's basketball right now. I mean, there's a lot of factors, but I think that the major one is that they feel like they're catching the wave at the right time, right? You know, when I got on this journey, one thing, you know, you realize in the midst of it is this is growing, of course. And also there is not as much heritage or competition or legacy media.
The real reason brands are flooding women's basketball with billions right now isn't just star power, it's perfect timing. Insiders say they're riding a rising wave, jumping in before it peaks, before it even hits the shore. This isn't ordinary smart business. It's a bold, high-risk play on a market that's been ignored for decades. What many are calling the biggest bet of the decade. They saw the momentum building and understood that waiting even a second longer meant losing a once-in-a-generation chance. This is a race for future control, a desperate push to claim the next era of sports. This isn't just investment, it's an all-out economic land grab.
And it's not, but, you know, Caitlin Clark, this Nike ad, it has 30 million views or something on Instagram. And of course, you know, it would be naive to not recognize her as the catalyst behind this explosive growth. And, you know, that's why her fans got impatient that her shoe didn't drop and her stuff didn't come out. But, you know, she doesn't need the promotion. She doesn't need all that because she's such a singular star. And, you know, that we've gone over and over, rising tide lifts all boats and whatever wouldn't do any good if it only boosted.
So who's standing at the center of this massive shift? None other than Caitlin Clark. Her Nike ad alone exploded to nearly 30 million Instagram views, a staggering proof of her individual magnetism and cultural impact. Ignoring her role as the spark behind this surge would be pure denial. She's the undeniable force that finally made the world stop and pay attention. But here's the real twist. Clark doesn't even need the push. She's a once-in-a-generation phenomenon whose presence alone overwhelms traditional marketing. Her influence is the doorway, opening eyes to a goldmine of elite talent that the world had been overlooking.
A singular star. And, you know, that we've gone over and over, rising tide lifts all boats and whatever wouldn't do any good if it only boosted one yacht, I guess is a way to put it. But it's not just Caitlin Clark. It's not just Caitlin Clark. You know, you see apparently Nike has trademarked this deal for Paige Beckers, or this logo for Paige Beckers here. Nike has filed a new trademark for Paige Beckers' bucket logo, and there's been some back and forth over whether people like the logo or not, but it could signify that she is the next signature Nike athlete. And now eventually Nike will get to the problem where...
But this moment isn't just the Caitlin Clark effect. Yes, she's a powerful accelerator, but the real story is far bigger. Saying a rising tide lifts all boats fits perfectly here, because one yacht alone doesn't change an industry. What brands now understand is that Clark's unprecedented influence is unlocking opportunities for an entire generation of female athletes, not just herself. This isn't a one-time anomaly. It's proof of a deeper shift, a growing ecosystem poised for massive expansion. Investing in one star is no longer a gamble. It's a multiplier that creates value
to capitalize. Nate Jones writes this: keep an eye out on the women's basketball signature shoe situation at Nike. They've pretty much locked all the biggest names up, but I don't think they can sustain 5+ women's signatures. We've had Sabrina, Asia, Caitlin Dunn. I imagine Paige is pushing hard. You know, then you got Juju Watkins, who has the big deal, and obviously he's coming in. So what does that mean? That means bigger opportunity for other stars from other brands if Nike is spread too thin there. We've seen Angel Reese has done her thing with Reebok. And that's another aspect of this conversation, is there is an influencer aspect to some of the stars in women's.
Take Paige Buchers as a prime example. Nike has reportedly filed a new trademark for her Paige Buckets logo, a move that strongly hints she's next in line for a signature Nike athlete deal. This isn't a short-term play built around one current superstar. It signals a long-range strategy with the future firmly in mind. Brands aren't simply reacting to hype anymore. They're deliberately constructing the next generation of sports dynasties. Investing in a distinct logo, despite public debate, shows a calculated belief in building individual brands across multiple athletes. They're securing tomorrow, one iconic...
James and Kobe Bryant and Allen Iverson and shoe after shoe after shoe after shoe on the men's side, so everybody got a shoe. And that will eventually happen on the women's side, but it hasn't happened yet where some of the biggest names are still available. in a growing influence market, in a market that continues to grow. And, some of these players have become emerging stars. I mean, Asia Wilson, let's be frank, has become a much bigger star in the last couple of years. Nafisa Collier has become a much bigger star in the last couple of years. The incoming stars have become bigger stars and have bigger brand deals in the last couple of years. And if you look at NIL,
Nike, unsurprisingly, is moving aggressively to corner the market on women's basketball's emerging megastars. With Caitlin Clark, Paige Buchers, Sabrina Ionescu, and Aya Wilson already locked into major deals, the brand has assembled a powerhouse roster. But this bold strategy creates a fascinating dilemma. How many signature athletes can one brand realistically sustain? While the women's basketball market is still young, giving Nike room to dominate, that window won't stay open forever. As new stars inevitably rise, even a giant like Nike will feel the strain. That looming saturation point signals massive, near-term
52% are women. And of that 52%, 35% women's NIL deals are in basketball. 35%. And it also showed that the women's basketball players were getting deals that were bigger than the men. Women's basketball outranked men's basketball on top of average deals per athlete, with women's basketball deals up 60% from 2022 to 2023, which jives with what we've seen from a star power standpoint. Because if you go to the men's side, and part of that's because women stay in college longer and their stories get
Nike's potential oversaturation isn't a weakness, it's a once-in-a-generation opening. A wide-open frontier for rival brands ready to move fast. If Nike truly can't sustain 5 or more women's signature deals, it leaves behind a massive vacuum waiting to be claimed. Now imagine the frenzy when Juju Watkins, already landing major deals, steps into the professional arena. Suddenly, the doors fly open for Reebok, Adidas, Under Armour, and New Balance to seize elite talent of their own. This isn't about picking up scraps. It's about building fresh icons, new brand ambassadors capable of reshaping the entire sports land.
Dives with what we've seen from a star power standpoint. Because if you go to the men's side, and part of that's because women stay in college longer and their stories get developed and fleshed out more, so you can follow their journey. I mean, it helped Caitlin Clark that she was at Iowa for so long. You saw her, lose this, come back the next year, crossover at Kinnick, rematch with Angel Reese the next year. Paige Buchers, she plays her in the Final Four, who'd been at college for a long time. And now AZ Fudd is in college, and you've seen her for a minute, and Sarah Strong will come up, and Mylasia Fulwiley's story transferring from...
Take Angel Reese as the perfect example. While Nike was focused on stacking its roster, Reebok made a bold move by partnering with Reese. This wasn't just a celebrity endorsement, it was a sharply calculated decision that recognized her rare mix of elite athletic talent and undeniable influencer power. Reese doesn't stop at the hardwood, she dominates cultural spaces too, turning heads on global fashion stages like the Met Gala and connecting with audiences far beyond traditional sports fans. Reebok looked past the box score and saw a multidimensional star with worldwide reach and cultural gravity.
And it's kind of like what happened with men's basketball, when Nike first burst on the scene with MJ and everything that transpired after that. So eventually it will be the norm, and it won't be like, oh, well, look at this, or wow, Sabrina's shoes are the most worn shoe in the NBA by an active athlete. Eventually it will be the norm. But I think right now what you see is this is the moment. And this is when these major brands feel like they can catch that wave.
The true secret weapon of many women's basketball stars isn't just their elite talent, it's their natural gift for being magnetic brand ambassadors in today's digital era. Brands are relentlessly chasing the next big influencer, someone who can genuinely connect with a diverse, engaged audience. Angel Reese embodies this perfectly. Her commanding presence at high-profile events and across social media makes her more than a player. She's a cultural icon, effortlessly linking sports, fashion, and mainstream media. That authentic connection is pure gold for smart brands. Historically, women's sports were overlooked, never given the same exposure as men's. Think of the endless signature shoes for Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, and Allen Iverson. That opportunity simply didn't exist for women. The game is changing fast. This isn't about catching up, it's about unlocking a booming market with untapped demand and a clean slate, free from decades of entrenched